Consider yourself an accessory. Someone to catch these words is a necessity. You can't deny that the blame isn't yours. If you're hearing this, you're an accomplice in there. I got the best, I got the best, I got the best listeners. Am I guilty of being word burglars? Sure, but if you're hearing this, you're an accomplice in
Crisp, clean audio today, baby.
Yeah, look at us.
None of that Zoom, Nikes.
Wait, are you guys still sick?
I mean, I got the sniffles.
Oh, great.
No, since we played football last Saturday, and as soon as I stopped, it all got caught in my chest again.
Aw. Well. Anyways, welcome to this very sick episode of Keeping Up with the Cardassians.
That means I'll be dead in a week.
A proud podcast where we talk all things pop culture, including movies, TV shows, music, comics, toys.
And that's it.
And that's it.
All kinds of random stuff.
I'm Nick.
This is Rob.
I'm Joe.
And welcome as we are reviewing a little TV show called Battlestar Galactica. We have 2 episodes we're going to review today. Those 2 episodes are Tigh Me Up and Tigh Me Down.
Hot.
And The Hand of God. And we review those. If you've listened to our show, you know the first half of the show we talk pop culture is our main point of topic of discussion. We talk about that for a while. We talk about what's going on in the world. And then the second half of the show is when we review the show that we're watching.
I think it's going to be a long one because the first half of the show is we got some things.
We got a lot of stuff to talk about.
Did you know that if a listener listens to the first half of our show, they're socially, contractually obligated to listen to the second half?
They are.
You're not. I think whatever platform they're listening on turns off of the like skip button.
Right, exactly. You're locked in.
You're locked in for the whole episode.
And if you're in your car, you can't unlock your seatbelt anymore. It like holds you in place, throws the car in the park, and wherever you're at, you have to listen to it. So you're in the middle of 696. Boom. Yeah. You're screwed, man.
Gridlock with our voices.
Yeah, exactly. My voice does cause people to stop.
I think my voice causes them to go over the Ambassador Bridge.
I don't know. Does it?
It might, because a lot of people jump off that thing.
A lot of people, which is funny because it's never in the news.
I know.
That's how they do it.
They got that money to pay. We're good.
Yeah,
we don't need it.
They got that Moran money. Yeah, they can keep that quiet. But anyways, we got a lot of pop culture stuff to talk about today. There was a lot of new shows that premiered this last week, and by a lot of new shows, I mean 2 shows.
3.
Night Court.
That 90s show and Last of Us.
90s shows. Oh, and The Last of Us. 3.
We'll touch on The Last of Us, but Rob and I haven't finished it.
Okay.
So
have you even started it?
I got 35 minutes into it.
You started it. Mm-hmm. Okay, cool. So I can do that. The first
about 15 minutes.
The first 35 minutes is set in the past, so that works out great. Or
that's where I called it quits last night. Where I'm
okay.
like, all right, I'm good. I got to this point.
Yeah.
All right, so we're gonna talk about those shows. So spoilers will probably come into play, but the other 2 shows, Night Court and that 90 show, spoilers, who cares? I mean, it's a comedy, so
there's really no spoilers.
Yeah, there's really nothing. And there's some other stuff as well to talk about. Rob's got a whole list, but let's start with this whole idea of taking shows that were beloved in the past and bringing them back to a new generation. Not a reboot.
It's an additional season.
It's a new season. Well,
no.
Season 10 of Night Court.
Night Court is not really a reboot.
It's not.
You got an original cast member in it.
Yeah, it does take place in the same universe
in the same court.
So does that 90s show.
90s show does too.
And I've been struggling with this, not just thinking about like how I actually feel about these, because I can be very hypocritical when it comes to this, because I've railed on shows doing this for a long time. Because it's unoriginal and it just relies on the past and
nostalgia.
Right. So, but when it comes to the shows that I like, I kind of like it a little bit.
Yeah. So let's start with Night Court. Okay, so the Night Court, it's not a reboot, it's not a reimagining, but the Night Court continuation is basically like Harry's daughter is now the Night Court lawyer or magistrate.
Yeah.
And John Larroquette's character comes back, and everyone else is new. You have a new prosecuting attorney. You have a new bailiff. You have a new. Everyone else is new in that cast. But does it still retain the charm of the original Night Court? That's my first question.
Okay, Rob, were you able to watch it?
Yeah, I watched both episodes.
Okay.
It had the song.
Yeah.
It has
And it didn't change. It didn't really change it, did
No,
it?
it did.
A lot of guitars for the
It's
for
more-
the current year.
Yeah, it's
Not
more,
as much
it's-
sax?
Yes,
Okay.
it's
Kind of rocky, which is
it's less horny and more rocky.
actually as a whole, the whole show's a less horny.
It is.
Yeah.
That's a very good. That's a very good analogy that
Yep.
they took the horns out of the
They
theme
did.
to make
They
it
took
less
the
horny.
horns out of the
and they took the
show.
They took the horniness out of
Which is funny because it was a
Dan
show
Fielding.
set in the 80s, right?
Yep.
Which was a very horny era in television. You look at all the shows; they were all horny.
Married with Children, all that.
Married with Children, Golden Girls.
Yes.
There were horn dogs in that. What's another popular 80s?
Cheers.
Cheers.
Sam.
Huh?
yeah. I said cheers.
Cheers. Yeah, they were all horn dogs. The 80s relied a lot on that sort of humor, more so than.
So your question was, did it?
Does it still have the charm? Okay, and keep in mind, I haven't said is it good or not. I said does it have the charm of the original?
I think. Okay, so my take is that Night Court as a whole, the original run of Night Court as a whole, is different than a lot of sitcoms of the era where it wasn't as serialized. They were individual episodes. It was almost like, in a way, it was similar to how you guys have talked about the Next Generation.
Yeah.
Where it was individual episodes that may have storylines that run through it season to season or over the course of a season.
Yeah.
And because of that, you had episodes that weren't, as a whole, it was like, it was a good show as a whole, but there were episodes that were good and that would have the charm. And so it's hard, for me, it was hard on 2 episodes to determine whether or not the show as a whole
Yeah.
retains that charm that over the course of 9 seasons I think it originally ran, that they developed that charm in the course of 2 brand new episodes. That's hard to do,
Yeah.
but I think it did to a certain degree,
That's the best way to say it. I was going to say the exact same thing. It did to a certain degree.
because the way that those shows did their comedy in the 80s, especially a show like Night Court, that style of comedy doesn't translate almost 40 years later.
No, it doesn't.
It's difficult to translate it.
It's hard to go back to
moved-
that style.
Yes. And when, okay, I really thought about this. If you try to do that, it borders on like Disney Channel / Nickelodeon style comedy where it feels kind of cheesy and corny.
Yeah. Yeah.
Do you know what I mean?
Yeah. Yeah.
So a show like Saved by the Bell
it's
was
all right.
genuinely funny at the time.
Sure.
And it was funny in a non-ironic way, but it didn't seem too cheesy or corny at the time.
Right.
I think at the time it did, to be honest with you. I was a little older, though.
I don't know. Not in the way that Disney Channel shows do now.
For sure.
I'm
But
so excited.
but they're doing almost the exact
so
same
scared.
style of comedy, and they're doing the exact same style of like high school sitcom type of stuff, and now it just seems kind of out of place.
I would agree. I mean, the one you watching the show, you can definitely tell it has that about it, and I think it needs to come forward a little bit at least in order to have longevity. But in its current state, I just think that the laugh track, the everybody's smiling for no good reason as they're delivering their lines, except for John Larroquette.
Right.
That you can't have that in a current TV show if you want to have that longevity. If you want to last more than one season.
I agree.
Yeah.
Were you gonna,
No, I was breathing.
oh,
Yeah.
you asked the question. You just don't have any thoughts.
My thought is the charm is kind of there.
That's exactly what we said. Wait,
Yeah.
sorry.
I mean,
Sorry.
there are nuggets of it. You can see pieces of it. But again, like you kind of said, some of the humor it feels outdated and just it feels sterilized. The humor feels very sterilized. I don't know how else to
I
describe
think they're
it.
trying to keep it pure.
You know,
But in this day and age, you have to bring it forward.
you
a
know,
little
like
bit.
there were some funny things, like the Golden Girls being the mural was, you know, kind of funny.
The guy flashing her was hilarious. I laughed at that.
That was, but see, these are these little peeks into
The
what,
original-
what
what it
Night,
was.
Night Court was from. I think it was like 84 to 90. No, 83 to 92.
92 or 91 at the latest.
So, like, but that didn't seem that the original run of Night Court. If they just co-opted that style, now it would probably be too offensive.
Well, yeah, and that's what they're trying.
But
They're trying to course
scene-
correct with this.
But the scene where he flashes the magistrate didn't seem that offensive.
Not at all.
So you can sort of inch your way there, kind of peaks, for lack of a better term.
Inch your way there.
Yeah.
A peak.
Flashing.
Yeah, these little flashes or peaks. But what they need to do is rely on John Larroquette.
He outacted everybody in that show and was so
John
obvious.
Larroquette is a goddamn professional.
Yeah.
He
He was good. He was good.
is
in
very good.
You know what I was very happy about? One of the things he did in the first episode, the Dan Fielding gasp.
Yeah,
Yeah.
Whatever that was.
yeah,
Oh, I was like,
yeah.
all right.
Yeah, that was good. I mean, there. I think the part of it, the problem I'm having is none of the new characters I really can like that much yet. She's okay as the judge. She kind of fits Harry's energy a little bit.
Well, see, I'm going to argue that because I think, like, looking at her, I think there's flashes of Harry. I think she's more Christine than anybody.
Yeah.
Her positivity and her
Yeah.
outlook on life screams Christine.
Yeah,
Yeah.
could be. I didn't really care for the prosecuting attorney though.
No, either did I, to be honest with you. Although I will tell you, from the first to second episode, she was a lot better. But she was like always trying to be on. It felt like in the first episode,
Yeah.
Yeah,
But-
she felt kind of cold to me.
Yeah.
Like
and not cold in the fielding way of the first show.
right? No.
Yeah,
Yeah. So I don't know. We'll see.
but I think this show, I think it kind of needs some of that more risque humor.
It does.
It needs it.
That's
needs
kind of what
And
it was.
And it needs more of the defendants. It needs more of that.
So are they going to do that? That's the question.
I don't know, because I don't think they're going to go risque. I think they're trying to make it as...
But for Melissa Rauch, she was a huge fan of the original, and she was the one who wanted to bring this back. So you think like that would be a necessity for her?
I just don't want them to. I think they've approached Dan Fielding okay so far. I don't think they neutered him too much, although he's not. But they gave you a little bit of a peek into potentially why he has been softened a little bit for
A lot.
and he's still funny, but it sounds like he had some issues with a relationship. I don't know how that ended. If it was they broke up or whatever,
She
or
died.
she died.
She died,
or-
is what they said.
That's what I got.
He's a
yeah.
widower. That's what they said in the show.
oh, when did
Yeah.
I didn't pick up on him
That
saying
was
a
my
widower.
assumption. I don't know if they
I
flat
assume-
out
I think they
mentioned
said it.
I assumed by the beard. I don't know why, but I was like, okay, I'm assuming she died, and all the meat in the freezer. But they brought back like the canned snakes and the birds, and there was a lot of like, and the armadillo, and
Yeah.
so
Yeah.
there was a lot of like head
It
nods
was funny
towards
to see the bird. They still couldn't get rid of the birds.
yeah.
So, and I think this is the tricky part when you're rebooting or bringing back a show for a new season, and we're going to talk about this a little bit with that 90s show too, is there too much of a reliance on what was in the past to connect with the older fans that it feels forced?
Well, so I think you could do that for an episode or two,
Right.
but I think then you got to let that go a little bit.
So like right away with the armadillo, that felt forced to me because
it did.
that was not necessary to me.
If they would have dropped the armadillo and left the snake things,
Yeah.
it would have been a nice touch.
It would have
there.
been fine. Yeah,
Yeah.
like he goes to open the box and the snakes pop up. That would have been just fine.
But how? Like, okay, so well, I guess what is your expectation for a show like this? Because if you don't,
Yeah.
if you're not sort of
You
if you're not appealing to that audience that originally
Right.
watched the first show or grew up with the first show in syndication, what's the point of bringing the show back? Because I'm telling
And
you right
that's
now,
the
there's
trick, yeah.
a younger generation who are maybe in their 20s and early 30s who don't know about Night Court
Never even heard of it.
and don't care to know about Night Court
Right.
unless you appeal to their parents or somebody else who around them who watched it,
Right.
who can sort of watch it with them or tell them about it, because that generation isn't clamoring, oh, we want Night Court back.
Right.
So, or we want that 70s show back. So I think you have to a certain extent, appeal to the generation or the demographic that watched the show originally.
Yeah.
But like you said, relying on it, using it as a crutch is basically kryptonite to shows like this.
Right. Right.
Because it gets stale.
Although,
it gets old.
I will tell you, the one show that's pulled that off, though, Cobra Kai. To me, Cobra Kai's pulled it off damn near seamlessly.
Yeah, they really have, and they lean heavy on.
Oh, the Mr. Miyagi and all that stuff, and the history and the past.
But I don't think they lean on it. I think they incorporate it so well into the show.
Better way to say
that
it.
it feels organic.
Yeah.
So it's kind of like maybe I think that's where that 90s show actually did a pretty good job of that.
I think so too. I think they did a better job than Night Court.
I think it did too. And should we kind of like start working our way into that conversation too? And
Yeah, go for it.
Well, let's start off with this. What would you give the Night Court out of 10?
The first 2 episodes in total, I'd probably give it a 6.5.
That's about right where I'm at.
Right about where I'm at
Yep,
as well.
That's where I'm at. That 90s show, I would probably give it a 7.5. I'm going to just start off with where I'm at there.
I think that's fair.
I also have the benefit of watching quite a few episodes ahead of you guys because you guys have just watched the first one.
I haven't made it through the
We
first one
watched
yet.
5. So, and the reason why I watched that many is Eli, my son, is loving it. He is laughing so freaking loud. He thinks it's the funniest thing ever.
Really?
Then that
Can you get him to
that's
tell
a
my kid to watch it?
success.
Yeah, I don't know, but that makes sense because it's made for that generation now. Because
Yeah.
you're looking back 30 years to the 90s,
Mm-hmm.
which is just. Though I will say, they're not real. It doesn't. That 70s show felt like it was set in the 70s. Like there were 70s references in the pilot. There's not a huge amount of 90s references. There is a little bit later on, like the Foremans get a computer, which is pretty funny. Watching them get the
nice.
computer, yeah, that's pretty good. But for the most part, they don't do that. The theme song's not in the first episode, right? But it's in
No.
the second episode, and they do like a grunge take on the song, and it's poppy grunge, so it's not really. I don't know.
So it's Foo Fighters. Got
Do you
him.
know what's coming?
Got him. It doesn't matter. I win. I
He
won
wins.
this
Do you know?
one. I don't care.
Dave Matthews, everyone. Dave Matthews. No,
That's really all you've got. That was a good
it's pretty good. Though.
that was a good singer.
That was a good thing. That was a good thing. Anyways, so starting off with the pilot. The pilot is pretty fairly simple. Like it's a good way to bring in a new season, right? The granddaughter of the Foremans decides she wants to stay the whole summer at their house. And Donna and Eric doesn't want it. Eric's super attached to his daughter, and Donna's like, get out. And she was okay with it. I liked Eric's references to Star Wars again, because he's obsessed with Star Wars. Which I watched.
His daughter's name is Leia.
His daughter's name is
And
Leia.
her middle name's Tatooine.
Tatooine.
No,
Yeah,
that's
we
Anne.
never agreed on that.
I think it's Anne, right?
Yeah, it was Anne, but that was pretty funny. It could have been, they could have done something. Well, actually, there's not too many other female characters in the original Star Wars trilogy, is there? Other than Leia. There's Mon Mothma.
Yeah.
And that's kind of it.
Yeah.
Potentially C-3PO. We don't know.
We don't know.
What about Jabba the Hutt?
Ooh, yeah.
Yeah.
Gosh, there's not
Just
a
saying
lot of
there's a
female
chance.
characters in the original Star Wars. I never really
No.
thought about that till just now.
No. It's like none.
There's like none other than Leia. Wow. I can see why the new trilogy changed that, right?
They course corrected.
Way too far. No,
No.
I'm kidding. That sounds super
Wow.
sexist. I don't mean
Wow.
Nick hates women.
Hot take.
They course corrected to bad stories is what they did. So that's my
I
hot
thought that
take.
was all of them. My bad.
Oh gosh. The Empire Strikes Back is a masterpiece of film. Masterpiece. Anyways, back to that 90s show. Kitty and Red were fantastic. Like
They were good. They were very good.
they were right back to it. The weird was this the one where Kelso came in too?
Yeah.
Okay, at the very end of the episode, Kelso and
That was kind of random.
Jackie. That he
It felt
just
very random.
Dr. Kelso?
he just walked in. No, not.
Wow.
But it I don't think they mentioned it before, but you definitely got the vibe that the one kid was Kelso's kid.
Just the way
Like
he
just
acted.
seemed like, oh, that's I was thinking, oh, that's the Kelso.
Yeah,
And then it turns out that's his son.
which fits.
I'm like, that
very
makes
well.
sense.
Yeah, I like how they're going to get remarried. Their second,
third-
their
third
second
time.
remarriage, and this one's going to stick. That was pretty good.
I thought Jackie was. I thought their whole vibe was good. Although, who plays Kelso? I'm blanking on his name. It's
Oh gosh, she was in 2.5 Men as well.
Ashton Kutcher.
Ashton
Ashton-
Kutcher. His whole. It seemed like he was like smiling through the whole thing.
Like he was just so happy to be there again.
Yeah, and it was. I don't know. It took a little bit away from the scene, although.
But I get that. Like with these so, and this is where I'm a little more forgiving with that 90s show, because I think about when these characters all came into it, they were all kids, right? They were all 16, 17, 18 years
wasn't
old.
Mila Kunis like super young?
Yeah,
Yeah, she was like 14.
I think when the show started, she was
Yeah, she
13
lied.
or 14.
She
Yeah,
lied about her
She
age.
lied about her age.
But they were all kids.
Great HR department.
And they grew up together in their teenage years, right? And I'm betting you Kurtwood Smith and I can't remember the name of Kitty, but I bet you they kind of served as almost surrogate parents in a lot of ways to these kids.
Yeah, well, a lot of shows are like that. Like, I don't know why the first one that came to mind was Growing Pains.
Yeah, yeah.
But like the
Alan Thicke.
yeah, these types of what's the other one? Family Matters is another one, but Full House.
Full House.
Those types of sitcoms where they're like family based
Yeah.
Sure.
and the kids are young.
Cisco, Avery
Yeah.
Brooks, and Sir Lofton.
Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah, exactly. So
And I think this is the I think this is the difference between that 90s show and Night Court is John Larroquette's the only pillar of the old show so far that we have.
right.
Well, he's only one of 3 that are alive.
I know. But I mean there are references, but he's the only, he's the lightning rod that sort of connects both entities. Whereas that 90s show has an ensemble that's still around and they still play off each other. So
Yeah, that 90s show felt more of a natural transition than Night Court did. It feels less forced right now. We'll see. I mean,
I want Night Court to work so bad, though. I want it to
I do
work
too.
so bad.
I don't think it's going to. I think it's going to be
they gotta correct it.
One and done.
They got to correct
thinking.
this. They got to do something.
I think they said it was the 5th highest premiere,
Yeah, it was huge ratings.
something like that.
Like 8 million for a current show, like
Which is
broadcast
that's
TV
crazy
show.
good.
Yeah.
Yeah. So we'll see if it sticks.
It'll drop off.
Oh yeah,
I
it'll
don't think
significant.
their
definitely
best,
drop
I
off.
don't think. Well, and I think that's the problem. I don't think their best material was given in the first 2 episodes. But that's true with that 90s show too, because I felt like the pilot was weaker than some of the other episodes that were in there. But
That's
again,
generally how it is.
But yeah, because they're reestablishing the universe, and I don't know. We'll see. But I like that 90s show quite a bit. We'll probably finish it tonight at this rate. There's only 10 episodes.
Nice.
So we're already in the episode 6. So we'll probably finish it.
Question for you guys.
Yeah.
How do you feel about the laugh track in 2023?
Leslie and I were talking about how weird that was.
Yeah.
It's so, and I was talking to her with her about how I remember when the first shows without a laugh track came out, like The Office and Scrubs and all those, and people were like, "This is terrible.
How do I know when to laugh?" Is what
Yeah.
you would hear a lot.
Yeah, exactly. And then now that's the normal, no laugh track. And now when it comes back, it feels.
My question is, are those laugh tracks or are those live studio
They're
audiences?
not live studio audiences.
There was one show.
not even
Was
that
it
90s
Full
show?
House that was filmed before a live studio audience?
And I think that makes
Yeah.
a difference. If you have that live studio audience, I can forgive the laugh track. But when it's
But
like
there were moments in that 90s show where the actors were like, they would pause briefly for a second.
okay,
So I don't know.
Let me look it up. Live studio audience.
He's looking it up.
Oh yeah, filmed in front of a live studio
Okay.
audience. Yeah,
The 90 show?
yeah.
Okay, that one, I don't know about that. I don't know about Night Court, though. That one felt like a track.
That one
but
felt like a track for sure. It felt like a track.
Night Court.
But that '90s show definitely felt more the
Like
laughter
authentic?
felt more authentic and organic.
Night Court is not. Wait. Night Court is filmed in Los Angeles. That would have been. I don't think
Those
it
people
is.
don't laugh out there anyway.
No, there's nothing funny in California right now.
Nothing at all.
I would assume not, just based on the vibe of the
It's
the
not.
show.
It's not a. It's not a live studio
Which-
audience show.
It does help. It really does help with if the laughter is organic.
Sure.
Yeah. So
I don't know. I don't. Night Court was fine.
No, it sounds like we're
I
really,
want
really
it-
dogging it.
I
We
I
want
it
better.
to be good.
We want it better.
we do.
John Larroquette's so good. He's
really
so
is.
good.
Really everything, because I look at that back at Night Court, or I look back at Boston Legal, he was in for a little bit.
Did you ever watch the John Larroquette show?
I did
Yeah,
not.
I did.
That was such a good show.
It was good. It
Really?
was solid. Yeah, it was solid.
I liked it. I think that was the first one. It was a show he did immediately following Night Court.
It
Okay.
was. It was.
was
It,
set-
it
it was set
didn't
in like a-
last long.
No, maybe 3 seasons, 2-3 seasons. My dad really liked John Larroquette, so I watched the John Larroquette show.
4 seasons.
Okay.
84 episodes.
Oh,
And
damn.
it was set in I think it was set in like a train station or like a train depot, I believe. But it was
Bus depot.
Yeah.
Yeah.
something like that.
In a lot of ways, it was kind of Night Court. In a lot of ways.
Yeah, in a lot of ways it was.
Yeah. So.
But John Larroquette is just so good. So I think if they really do want the show to be successful, they need to tap into Dan Fielding and really lean on John Larroquette to kind of show the new cast the way. And if they can do that, I want them to get another season. But
Well, fingers crossed. All right, should we take a very quick commercial break?
Yeah.
Because we have a lot more stuff that we want to talk with you about. So we're going to take a quick commercial break. We'll be right back after a word from these sponsors. All right, everyone, we are back. Rob, what's your first topic you want to, well, not first topic, but what do you want to bring up?
Can I ask the question that
Yes.
Galdecott asked on Instagram today first before we get anything else?
Yeah.
Yeah.
What did Gald Ducat ask?
Galdecott,
What
his
on
deep
Instagram?
thought.
You do deep thoughts with Gul Dukat on
Yes.
Instagram. And
Yeah.
what's our Instagram?
It's at keeping
Keeping-
underscore up underscore Cardassians.
Okay.
So this is an important question, guys. Let's say you're at an orgy and
Yeah.
you finish first.
Mm-hmm.
Like, what do you do after that? Do you have to like sit out and just watch, or do you have to like wait to tap? Like, how does what happens to that person? That
Like
finishes first?
dodgeball?
Yeah. Like,
So I thought about this,
oh, nice.
and I think it's almost involuntary. Like, I think you would feel like you have to.
Have to what?
Sit out.
You'd sit out.
Yeah.
You-
You're
who
like
wants
you're like punished.
Who wants to finish first at an orgy? You'd
Yeah.
be so ashamed. You would just kind of hide in the corner. Be like, all right, well, when you guys are done,
And as
just
soon as
let
you
me
finish,
know.
you get that bum, bum, bum music, the sad trombone,
Well.
the sad trombone, man.
Oh, I was thinking like the Price is Right music.
I tell you, that could work too. So you got to sit out and watch. Like, you have to watch. It's the rule, right? You can't just go home.
no, you have to. I guess I don't know the rules technically.
Yeah.
Does it vary orgy to orgy, or are there
I think
set of?
I think it's a set of rules for all orgies.
Okay. Is this kind of like Monopoly, where it's like there's a set of rules, but then it depends on whose house you play at? Like
Yeah.
as a whole.
Do not pass go. Do not
Like
collect
at this
semen.
house. At this house, if you stay in jail for 3 turns, you can pay $50.
Exactly.
And get out. Like,
Oh my gosh.
I like how Nick's not participating. But I thought that was an important question to ask.
this is very important.
Yeah, because seriously,
these are the questions you have to. These are the deep thought questions that only you can get from Deep Thoughts with Gul Dukat.
Yeah. There it is. That plays as soon as you're like, oh, I'm done, and everybody else is going at it for 25 more minutes.
They need a soundboard operator at orgies to play these drops as everybody finishes.
Is it like King of the Hill? Your last one there, you win at an orgy.
Yeah. Well, what happens to the winner?
Yeah.
Well, I guess it's like you sort of absorb the other participants. So So the ratio goes up.
You
right?
sure do absorb the other participants.
But I mean, so now it's almost like musical chairs.
I'm not part of this conversation. I'm just,
So there's like one, in theory, in the orgy in my head currently, it's 1-to-1.
my gosh.
So one drops off, the other. Let's say there's 10. So there's 10 on 10. There's 20 people.
Yeah.
One drops off, so now there's 10 for 9. Then one other drops off. Now you got 10 for 8. You just absorb the
I'm
the
viewing
participants.
I'm viewing it as a competition. Like as soon as let's say Nick
like a
finishes,
dance. So your partner goes too.
no, so let's say Nick drops off and he's done. You point at him and say, "Yeah, scoreboard, bitch," and you go on to the next thing. And I don't want to lose to
But
these
what
other
happens
people.
to Nick's partner?
He stays in the game
Oh.
because it's an orgy.
But
You're
that's-
going at everybody.
But that's what I'm saying. You just absorb.
Eyeballs, ears. It's all a free game
Yeah, but then why would he sit out?
because he has to watch.
Only
That's
one
his punishment.
only one
That's
part
his
of him
punishment.
is done.
I'm not putting this in our episode synopsis, just for the record.
This is a surprise for everybody.
Yep. Nick did. No, I was going to do this.
No, I did not.
Take to the Patreon for the explicit version.
I'm just along for the ride here.
Yeah, you are.
Yeah, that's this is what we're saying.
Yeah.
But in our scenario, you finished first. So,
Okay. Okay.
we go back to this. Last of Us.
Oh my gosh.
That's what I would name my orgy.
Well, I mean, it is a show about funguses and fungi.
I am
So
a fun guy.
I am a fun guy.
I named that my.
I am a neat guy. Or isn't that what it is in Friends? Or
Yeah.
Neat guy. Neat guy. Last of Us. So we're only going to talk about the first 35 minutes. So I'm assuming everything before the time jump.
Yes. So I got basically till the end of we'll call it the prologue.
Yeah.
Okay. And you did too?
Ish.
Okay.
Have you played the game?
No.
Do you know what's
Oh,
coming?
because it follows the game exactly.
Not exactly.
Well,
It
almost,
takes some
very
liberties at the
close.
beginning, which
Yes.
is okay.
Yeah.
But because it establishes a character a little bit more
Out of her, yes.
Yeah. So, where did you end? We're going against our week rule, by the way.
I watched like the first. I watched a little bit of it with my son.
Okay.
I didn't pay close attention. He wanted to show me a scene. I watched the scene.
What scene?
That's it. I don't remember.
Stuff happened.
Okay.
It
So how do we do this?
We don't really talk. We could give our what.
No, go ahead. I'm gonna watch it. I don't care about spoilers.
So
See,
the,
I think
the
for-
prologue is
I think
about
for the-
how the fungi came to take over the world.
Okay.
So it starts off pretty innocently enough. There's a few reports of things happening in the Philippines. A little girl here. It's a story about the girl and her dad, right?
Yes.
And how- the close relationship they have with one another. And they do a really good job. They make Joel a very lovable character almost right away. He's someone you really sympathize with. They set up a good storyline with the brother
Yep.
as well. The brother's a good guy as well. And basically the prologue is, the daughter goes into the city to get her dad's watch fixed. She comes home, goes to the neighbor's house to bake some cookies, and the grandmother, the old grandmother, is acting weird. She's in a wheelchair, acting weird. She has a seizure in the background, but she doesn't notice it. She's one of the first infections or whatever. And then the girl goes to sleep at night. Everything's fine. And the dad gets a call from the brother who got thrown in jail. So he goes to pick him up. And the daughter wakes up at 2:00 in the morning, and there's explosions going off and chaos all around. The world is falling apart before her eyes. And she goes over to the neighbors to check on him. And the neighbor's got tentacles coming out of her mouth, basically fungi coming out of her mouth. And, everyone's eating each other. The fungus is taking over. And
Speaking of orgies,
yeah. Gosh. And the dad finally comes back. So the dad rescues her, and they're getting away. And the prologue basically ends with an army sergeant shooting at them because they're not allowed to leave the area. They're trying to contain the infection. And
someone dies.
yeah, someone dies of that pair.
Yeah.
I wonder who.
Of the three.
Of the three of them. So,
But it was it was really well done.
It was extremely well. And if you look, and this is where I said it's almost exactly like the game.
Have
the
you
shirt
watched
she's wearing is the exact same shirt.
Oh,
from
is
the
it? I didn't
game.
even catch that.
Have either of you watched Side by Sides?
Yes,
No, I have not.
that's what I did.
They're incredibly close, incredibly accurate to the game.
The movie theater scene, the movie when they're by the movie theater is almost.
I mean, it's not. It's
Well,
not.
Even the drive. I know. I recognize that. Only thing I didn't hear was when the sergeant said, "But it's a kid," type of thing. I don't
Yeah.
think he said that in the show.
No, he's just like, "Are you sure?" Yeah. Yep. Yep. But I thought they did a really well job, and they did a good job. And this is like a weakness that The Walking Dead had, and a lot of these apocalyptic zombie sort of things have. They don't really do a good job showing the breakdown into the chaos. And I think that would be an accurate take on how quickly it could break down. Like, people would panic immediately and cause that.
We've kind of seen this to a very lighter degree
In our own country.
in the last 3 years.
The world.
Yeah.
I mean, immediately follow. Think about March of 2020.
The rush to the stores to
Rush-
buy up all the
and
toilet
that's-
paper and
And
the
that's
meat.
something that you couldn't see,
Yeah.
that didn't really pose an immediate visual threat. Like, you couldn't identify it, right? So and we panicked hard,
Oh yeah.
and we'll panic again.
Oh yeah. We absolutely will.
So if something happens to this degree,
I don't think we will panic again. I think because of the
you
way
have
that,
way too much faith.
Yeah.
no,
more
no,
faith in
no, no, no,
humanity.
no. And
dude.
I'm saying this in a bad way. With the way our country reacted this first time, and only, and I'm saying
Half of us will panic.
and I'm saying only in quotations, only 3 million people dying. I think people are going to be like, "Oh, they're lying to us again." And you're right. I don't think it will be a panic until it's too late.
If it was similar to COVID again, if it was some sort of airborne disease, but if it was a something that you can see, a threat that you can identify like that, I think people will panic. People will freak the fuck out.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
Okay. Well, we'll see. We'll see.
We will see.
But I
We'll
mean,
see.
but I
Let's
mean,
put some money on it, gentlemen.
but because then you're gonna have
I'll bet you 2 rolls of toilet paper in the upcoming pandemic.
oh yeah. I got eggs on that.
yeah.
Yeah, eggs.
I'll bet you a dozen eggs.
I'll bet you a vaccine.
Hey,
Hey,
it doesn't work anyway.
Yeah.
That's not even worth a single egg.
Yeah, it's not. That first 35 minutes though was television perfection, I think. I would give that first 35 minutes a 10 out of 10 easily.
Absolutely.
I think the second half, and you'll get into it, and I won't really spoil anything. I think it's a little bit weaker than the opening, but it's still really good.
Well, probably from that time it has to turn and now establish everything current as well.
Well, right. You go from this sense of urgency and this panic to now we're slowing down.
Yes.
Right? So whenever you do that, it's going to feel like you're losing a little something. I would probably give the pilot a 9 out of 10. Bella Ramsey is absolutely incredible as Ellie.
Okay.
She is really, really good. You can believe this character really well. There's a lot of similarities too with that. If you put them up against the video game, like there's scenes that are directly taken from the video game, which is really cool. You probably saw those with with her and him in the bedroom when he's asleep and everything. What am I supposed to do while I'm waiting? And it's like an exact take from the video game. It's incredible.
So how do you feel about something being so close to the source material?
Don't break what.
Don't fix what isn't
Don't
broken.
fix what isn't broken. There we go.
I think there's very few video games that can easily transition
And
to
that's
this
one
kind
of
of
them.
media, and that's one of them. Metal Gear. I
Metal
think, could be
Gear
another one.
solid.
Metal Gear could absolutely be one.
Metal Gear could
Earlier Metal Gear, it gets a little far out there and
But
zany
you
as
simplify it
goes.
a little bit, and it's even better.
But like,
if Metal Gear Solid, the game Metal Gear
yeah.
Solid, would be one of the greatest espionage films of all time.
so I just watched something.
Better hide in a cardboard
I just
box,
watched
though.
something about this because they were talking about a video game adaptation that doesn't suck, which I think video game adaptations have done a lot better more recently. But you think back to some of the first, like the Mario Brothers one, and they did a whole breakdown of why the Mario Brothers failed. And it turns out like the filmmaker, when he was making that, said, well, I wanted our story to be the actual thing that happened, and the video games were the where the exaggeration of what
Yeah, don't
happened. And it's
stop
like,
it.
Yeah.
bro, don't like give
It's
me
Mario
a Mario
Brothers. Knock it
Yeah.
off.
Everyone knows it's absurd and unrealistic. Like, just have fun with it. And
The way
his movies were even like that was even worse than
The way to do that is how Sonic did it.
yeah.
Sonic was decent.
Sonic was great.
I wouldn't say it was great. It was
The
pretty,
first Sonic was great.
It was pretty damn good.
It was great.
I don't know.
Like
didn't
8
watch
out
that.
of 10. 8 out of 10.
8 out of 10 is pretty damn good.
Great.
9's great.
Yeah, that's true.
But to your point about how you think video game adaptations in movies and shows have gotten better
Yeah.
as of late, the reason is because video games have increasingly become playable movies and
They
shows.
become art.
Right. So instead, like, it used to be like story-driven games were RPGs, role-playing games,
Yep.
and pretty much that's it. You would have a backstory for some action games, but for the most part, it was all about the action in the game, not
Right.
necessarily the story behind it. Metal Gear Solid was,
Yeah,
was
you'd
one that
skip the
you really
cutscenes.
got into the story. And like once home consoles became able to visualize these deeper stories, games became playable movies or playable TV series.
Absolutely.
And that's when you can kind of mix the two a lot better.
Yeah, you think about. I mean,
All of the good TV and movies that from video games are of more recent games.
minus Halo. I heard Halo is terrible, but I haven't watched it.
History of Violence was an adaptation too, and it was really good.
Of a comic.
Oh, that was a comic. You're right.
I was gonna say, what was it, Streets of Rage?
But you think about there's some other good examples. Like they could make a God of War movie pretty easily, and I think that would be okay. The Last of Us translates really well to that. You know, you have Naughty Dog is really good at making games like that. PlayStation has a lot of really good ones, like Detroit Become Human would
one more
be
time?
a good one.
PlayStation.
PlayStation is really good at that. I will
PlayStation.
not
You
argue.
know who stinks? Xbox.
That's not true. Exactly. The Mass Effect series would be a really good sci-fi series.
Garbage.
You know, that would be really good. And I think they're working on making that too.
You know what really hasn't translated? Nintendo.
What Nintendo movies have really, I mean, none? They haven't done a Zelda one, which blows my mind.
Please don't.
They could make a great movie
I think
out of
Zelda could be
It could, but I don't want them to.
limited series. HBO Max. Zelda rated R.
Oh, that's fine.
I would do it where
So quickly I
each
turned.
Yeah, exactly.
Don't do it.
HBO
Oh,
Max
okay.
series, in each episode is 2 hours, and it's set with a different Zelda in a different time. I would not make it a carrying over story with each one. I'd make it a new Zelda each
A
time.
link to the
Yeah,
link to
like,
the past.
exactly.
And you could build a
Orca-
Link
Ocarina
universe,
of Time,
and
Majora's
you could
Mask.
Avengers Link.
Oh yeah, exactly. They all come,
Links assemble.
Yeah.
Link
But, like,
up.
What entities?
And it turns into an orgy.
I think that's the only Nintendo entity that I think would translate to a series pretty well. Maybe-
Castlevania,
Metroid.
Metroid could work.
Castlevania might be good.
Yeah, I think Castlevania would be pretty damn good.
734-494-0980. What you guys got?
Yeah.
Nintendo video game properties.
Tell us what you're thinking, y'all.
I'm trying to think of some other ones. I mean, you have Animal Crossing, yeah.
Mega Man. That's Capcom though.
Donkey Kong, Pokemon. They've done that. I mean, Pokemon. Detective Pokemon was good, or Detective Pikachu was good. I actually really enjoyed that one.
I like the first Hitman. I think I'm the only person though.
Yeah, those were not well received.
Probably are.
Those were not well received at all. Oh, what about Star Fox? Yeah, I love Star Fox.
Star Fox.
What about GoldenEye? Oh wait,
Oh, da-da-da.
they could adapt that to a movie. It'd be amazing.
They should.
That pause music in GoldenEye.
A game based on a movie, based
It's
on
a game.
Only if the characters are blocky, like in the game, where you can't recognize facial details.
And there's the 4 split screens on the
I
movie
remember
screen.
playing that game for the first time and being like, "Wow, this looks real."
Yeah, because they had faces.
I know. And then now you go back and
You're like, whoa, my god.
Game's still cool though, man.
And then when you played it on the 4 screen, how like jumpy and laggy it was.
Yeah.
Like You were like
You adapted though.
You did.
Yeah.
You did. I remember my dad actually used to have coworkers come over from where he worked, and they were like, my dad was probably in his late 30s at that point in time because I was a 12, 13.
How old is your dad now?
In his 60s. Yeah, that tracks.
Okay.
And he would bring over his coworkers who were in their early to mid 20s, and we would just play GoldenEye together for hours.
At my first apartment, GoldenEye and Perfect Dark, we would play a lot.
Ooh, that's a good one.
I never played Perfect Dark.
Perfect Dark was good too.
It was a nice follow-up that was related but not related.
Yeah, that's what I've heard. Yeah, it's basically the same game but just reskinned almost. So, anyways, anything else we want to discuss here? We're 45 minutes in and we haven't even gone to our episode.
I got 4 bullet points. You guys pick what you want to talk about.
Okay.
Nick Cage is a Star Trek fan. XO6 is releasing Quark, the action figure.
Mm-hmm.
Only one more season of Cobra Kai, and John Williams doc in the works by Steven Spielberg.
Ooh, John Williams doc.
Okay, I want to hit these real quick.
Okay.
What was the first one?
Nick Cage is a Trek fan.
Okay, I'll try to get him on the show. Next.
All right, go. It was XO6 releasing Quark.
I think I'll probably buy that one.
You think buy that one?
Next.
They're what, usually like $250?
Yeah.
Yeah. For Quark, I would.
All right. Only one more season of Cobra Kai.
Yay.
That's fine.
Okay.
I don't think it has the steam to go very, very long.
Holy crap, that's a good Quark.
It's gorgeous, isn't it?
Holy crap.
John Williams doc in the works by Steven Spielberg.
Probably the only guy that could do it.
Okay. Well,
Except maybe Scorsese.
Christopher Nolan can do everything.
Not a documentary about.
Or is it Scorsese? Who did the Rolling Stones ones? Was that
know.
Scorsese?
I don't know.
I think it.
But Steven Spielberg makes sense.
If it was the Rolling Stones, I'm not interested.
Oh, Beatles guy.
Yeah.
I'm interested in John
They should have the Rolling
John Williams
Stones do a Beatles doc.
John Williams is royalty.
Yeah, for sure.
Like in his movie score, he's top of the mountain. So it's only fitting to have one of the greatest directors of all time
Well,
do it.
Ron Howard?
Well, rumor has it they asked Ron Howard and he was too busy. Can anybody confirm that?
No.
For y'all that may not know.
No, there's no reason to reevaluate things from the past. We grow,
Ron
we change,
Howard
we evolve.
Is a better director than Spielberg and
No,
everybody
I
else.
took it back like immediately.
Yeah, he said Ron Howard was the greatest director of all time.
No,
all time.
I said you could.
You said
argue
Ron
that
Howard should direct
perhaps.
everything.
And then you argued it, and then we immediately shot you down.
Exactly. We argued it, and it was wrong. Okay, I just said you could argue it, and we did. And
In our massive research, we just went to the Spielberg Wikipedia
Yeah,
page.
exactly.
and compared
And
the two
compared it.
side by side. Yeah, Howard's a good director, but he's
We
not.
never said he
Spielberg.
wasn't.
I know.
He was a good director for 3 movies.
Yeah,
No, he has more
you're
than
right.
3.
2.
That's right.
No, he has more.
Okay,
than
you lost one. It's 1 now.
Apollo 13.
Ransom.
Ransom. Give me back my son. I love that movie. Mel Gibson before
Yeah,
he
but
was
did he
crazy.
write it? He didn't write that line.
But Mel Gibson can act still.
Yeah.
He's just crazy.
So I'm going to give credit to, at that time it would be Mel Gibson and the writer, whoever wrote it. Whoever wrote
Mel
it.
Gibson's
Ron
delivery.
Howard gets no credit whatsoever. He was just there for A Beautiful Mind was Ron Howard.
Side note, I got Violent Night on. I bought Violent Night on my digital.
Oh my gosh, it's so good.
Yeah.
Have you seen it yet?
You want my Voodoo access?
No, I'm going to watch it next Christmas.
You want my Voodoo access? Because it's amazing.
All right. Anything else? Before we got to take another quick commercial break.
I have like 30 more things.
Well,
No,
here's
just
one
kidding.
thing I will add real quick. I finally finished the pilot of
Jesus
Lost.
Christ.
And I got a couple episodes in actually too.
All right,
on top of that.
So let's do the commercial and we'll maybe do that at the end.
No.
Do the commercial, man.
Because we have
Stay
to
tuned next week for Nick's review of the pilot
next week
of Lost.
we're going to review the
I'll
full
write that
thing.
down.
Okay. All right. So let's take a quick commercial break, and then we're going to do Tie Me Up and Tie Me Down
Hot.
and Hand of God. So we will be right back. All right, ladies and gentlemen. Tie Me Up, Tie Me Down.
Mm-hmm.
That's what we got. Here we go.
Do that in the orgy.
Yeah.
Rosalind still suspects that is still like wrapped
Tied
up
up
in this
during an
fact.
orgy and you finish. How
That,
do you get that kicked
shut
out?
up. Shut up, bro. Shut up. All right. So Rosalind still suspects Adama as a Cylon. Dr. Baltar's Cylon testing is now done
This
and
orgy's
ready to
on
roll.
Battlestar Galactica.
So So she immediately orders them to test his blood first.
Who finishes first?
There's back and forth on.
You know what this is?
This is why we can't have nice things.
No, this is payback for all your little
That's
ASMR
That's
chewing
true.
bullshit.
That's true.
I bet you Baltar finishes first.
Okay. So, well, yeah, absolutely. Baltar does. But then he gets right back in the game because that's.
But he has an imaginary partner. They're like, what is he doing over there? What is he doing
There's
over
all
there?
these people here, and he's off in the corner. So they have the blood detector test or whatever, and Adama's acting weird. Why is he acting weird? Well, it turns out Ty's wife is alive. Ellen Tigh is alive. So he brings her back to the Galactica. Right away, you can see that this chick is crazy. She's a drunk. She's a horn dog. She wants to sleep with everyone and everything.
In the orgy.
Yeah, she would be there for sure. Ellen would be there. And she brings out the worst in Tigh, which is why Adama struggled with whether to bring her on the ship or not. And Adama doesn't trust her either, so he wants to get her blood work tested to see if she's a Cylon. And back and forth, they keep suspending and redoing the tests. Finally, by the end, Rosalind's like, okay, I don't really trust Ellen, so let's get her blood tested. They test her blood, but they don't give you the actual results of the blood work with it because everyone passes the Cylon detector test now because Baltar is just terrified of what will happen. Meanwhile, there's a Cylon raider that's just basically messing with the Galactica and decides to kamikaze into it, on the side note. And on Caprica, Hilo and Sharon are running through sewers. The end of that episode.
Can we all agree that every decision that Gaius makes is the wrong decision?
Oh, he's an idiot.
Like
I hated
every
this episode.
single time you're like, okay.
Well, you hate him in general, though.
No, not in general. I hate the stupid music and she pops in his head. I hate that part.
You better get used to that because that's a part of the show.
I just can't believe that like every single time there comes a decision point, he makes the wrong one.
He makes the exact wrong.
And everything compounds. Like he wouldn't have to do this if he had gone, like we said last week, if he had, after he let Boomer go, gone to the authorities and said, that bitch tested positive.
Yeah.
She's a Cylon.
You need to get her out of
Yeah.
here. She gonna kill you.
Yep.
Yeah. And they
For his
everybody-
own long being, he should tell that because if she's in there, obviously it's a plant, and he could turn against everybody there, including wipe him out. For the love of fucking God!
I think you said this last week or maybe the week before. You're like, is he starting to more identify with the Cylons? Is he starting to side more with the Cylons?
He is.
And it seems like he is, right? Like I think he's realizing I don't have a place with humanity. Like I don't fit there, so I got to find where I do fit.
I look at his character as like he is going to be self-serving no matter what.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
self-serving was to bat both sides of the plate.
Yeah.
So why wouldn't he say, hey, this person's a Cylon? Because
Yeah.
he'd be endeared to the humans so much at that point. He can even throw him a bone, throw him one, throw him Boomer, throw him the wife, throw him whoever. And then keep everybody else back.
Does part of finding more Cylons though? Does that bring more attention on you?
No.
I think it does. Like
Well,
in terms of
being the one who has a Cylon detector.
yeah, but more people are coming to him and talking with him and asking him to do things for him, and he doesn't want that. He wants to just be left alone so he can hook up with
Have
six.
imaginary sex?
Yeah, like, and was this the episode where Starbuck walked in on him?
Jesus Christ.
Yeah.
Just exercising.
That was...
And she just blows it off like, whatever, because she probably does the same sort of stuff, honestly.
No.
Oh, my God.
If you're going to... Okay.
I immediately started hating this episode after that scene. I'm like, you lost me.
Yeah.
Earmuffs, though.
You don't like fun.
I love fun.
You don't like fun.
This wasn't fun.
That was fun.
Earmuffs. That's not masturbating. Like, what he was doing wasn't masturbating.
No.
That was sex simulation. So, it's way different than what...
Is he basically
than
having...
what Starbuck would...
Is he basically having a wet dream? In that
Essentially.
moment? Like, because he's not touching himself or anything.
Do we know that, Fo? Where
I'm
was his
just
hand? We didn't do a hand check.
His hands were on
No,
the...
he was shot from the chest
I don't think
up.
he was touching it. He wasn't touching himself.
I don't think he was.
The important question was we asked on the show, 734-494-0980.
But yeah.
My question is, and this is always going to be my question until they do something about it, is they immediately raise red flags on Adama. And they're like, he's a Cylon because
Thank you.
Because
this was a bullet point for later.
Because he did one thing.
He acted weird once.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Did you know that
he's been making weird phone calls from his room and
As
we could
a
list
commanding
15 or
officer, which is part of the job.
We could list 15 or 20 things Baltar's done and nobody bats an eye.
no one bats an eye.
Or Boomer.
Starbuck walks in and this guy's
Boomer.
banging the edge of the table, and they're like, "That's weird." Hey, next thing, like nobody cares. Nobody.
gets a
But
pass.
Adama sneezes. They're like, wait.
Yeah. He didn't. You know what?
He's a Cylon.
Exo sneezed and Adama didn't say
I really
bless
think
you.
it's an out of sight, out of
God's
mind
bless
thing,
you.
though. Like Adama and Rosalind are with each other all the time. Baltar's just hiding off in his lab. I think it's out of sight, out of mind.
Last episode, she said, "I'd never trusted you," and then she went right back to
She doesn't trust him.
Oh,
I don't think just because she exonerated him
I
does
knew
not mean
you
she
were
trusts
guilty.
him.
I knew you were
Yeah,
guilty.
it doesn't mean she trusts him.
I don't know, man.
Yeah, I don't think it does.
This part of the storyline where all these red flags are popping up with him and nobody does anything about it. But as soon as somebody else does one little thing, it's kind of annoying at this point.
Boomer has bombs on her for the love of God.
Yeah.
Come on.
Okay.
Makes love to a Cylon ship.
She just touches it.
It's a handy.
She caresses it.
No
like
one
a-
was watching her do it.
Yeah, the freaking chief was.
No, he wasn't.
Yeah,
was
he
he?
was.
Yeah, he was.
Oh, I thought he was wearing. Oh, yeah.
He
'Cause he did
he
this.
kind of gave her the business too. He's like, that's kind of weird.
Yeah.
You know, it's kind of.
And she's like, hey, yeah, you got to talk to it. You got to
You gotta stroke it.
hey, ship. What's up? You can't treat it like an animal.
You know, you have to suspend belief sometimes, gentlemen.
Not when they're beating in your head over and over again. I do agree with you. I do think you have to kind of get past things.
Yeah.
But it's the same thing for 8 episodes, 9 episodes, whatever it's been.
Mm-hmm.
But like, wouldn't Starbucks say to somebody, "I walked into Baltar's laboratory and he was having sex with the air,"
Or
and then
Starbuck would make fun of him, at least to everybody else.
yeah, and they'd be like, "I walked in, I saw him doing this," and then
Yeah.
you're like, well, okay, well, we've all seen him do some weird stuff.
Yeah, but
Now,
isn't
can
that
can we just drug test?
Doesn't
Can we
that
get
just mean he's a pervert?
Okay, so let's take that aside then.
Okay.
The president and Adama have both been in the room where he is not. I'm not talking sexual. He has acted very suspiciously.
Yeah, zoned
when,
out or
No,
start
not even that. But like when pressed with pertinent information, he gets very
defensive.
immediately.
Mm-hmm.
If Adama did that about
They would crucify him, shoot him out the airlock.
But that's not Adama, because Adama's always been smooth and steady. Like, this is my point with Baltar, is he's always had something loose in his head, and everyone knows that about him and has always seen that.
But I got
so
news
it's
for you.
not out of character for him.
If you had somebody like that in your life, because I have, you kind of side on him the entire time. Like, when's this person going to snap on me and shoot me?
Yeah. Well, there's some truth to that. Yeah, absolutely. But that doesn't mean you might be thinking that, but you might not do anything with it.
You keep your eye on him, though.
You keep your eye on him, but
And you don't trust that person.
But again, that's what Rosalind says. She doesn't trust him. I don't know. I don't. So far, nothing that's happened. Is he to be watched? Yes. Is he?
nobody's watching him.
Nobody's watching. They're not putting anybody in there to try to learn the Cylon system with them or something. There's no there's no check to the balance.
There's no job shadowing.
Yeah.
Like, wouldn't you have some? What if
You have one guy that if he dies, they're effed.
Right.
So you don't have any kind of
have
security
someone
system.
shadow him and
I think we've seen they're already incredibly short-staffed.
they
But
got
they could
47,000 people.
Yeah, there can be
That's
one
not
person.
a lot.
They can grab one person and be like, just be everywhere this guy is, and he can jerk off to them when they're around too.
Janitor, who cleans the restrooms?
Yeah.
I don't know.
Use that guy.
Yeah, use that guy. Just have him go in there. You have a part-time
There's gonna
job
be
now.
one other smart person in this entire 47,000.
Everybody else is adult.
Yeah, everybody else apparently is an E student.
Maybe. I don't know. All right. Enough about Baltar, because you hate Baltar, and I get that. Well, you don't hate Baltar. You hate how no one's really keying in on him.
Yeah.
And
I kind of don't like Baltar though. I think
well,
he's
I
kind
don't.
of a
I don't
douche.
think he's supposed to.
I don't
be
think you're
likable.
supposed to like him.
I think he's
Well,
supposed
good.
to be the douche.
They were successful in
They've
that.
done a really
because-
good job with his character. I will say over the course of the series, his character development is one of my favorite characters as he develops. But I really do hate him right now. So anyways, going back to the dinner with Tigh, this is the first time where this show has leaned into humor. Forced, or was it okay?
It was a bit forced. I don't think it was executed well. Because
I thought it was decent.
It was okay. But like if you look back, let's pick on DS9, where there was everybody coming into Kira's room and then leaving. Everybody,
Yeah.
That felt very funny to me. This didn't seem as maybe it was edited weird.
Oh, see, I thought this was pretty funny. Like her
I thought it was
feeling
funny, but I don't think I would ever like audibly laugh.
Yeah.
But I recognized the humor. I was
did
like,
that.
oh, that's funny.
You
I
did
like that.
kind
That's
of like
funny.
Night Court. You're like, oh, that's funny.
Yeah, there were points in Night Court where I was like, oh, I get that joke. That's pretty funny.
Now,
But I didn't laugh.
Did it
Yeah.
feel forced in the sense because maybe this show doesn't feel like it should have humor? Because that
I
was kind of
think-
part of it for me.
I think they needed to ease into the humor a bit more. Like I think it can have humor,
Yeah.
but I think it tried to go balls deep without the loop.
I don't know if it tried to do that, but it tried a different
Just
style.
a tip.
Tried a different style of humor for sure.
But I think, too, part of it is Ellen. She's such a wild card, right? She
Yeah.
gets in there, and right away you can see this. She crazy.
Yeah.
She's nuts, man.
Do Cylons have a sense of humor?
I don't know. Do they? Shouldn't they?
They haven't yet.
No, they
Boomer
haven't.
Boomer doesn't have one. Six any iteration of her
That's
haven't
not
had
true.
one.
No, that's not true. With Hilo, she kind of makes some jokes and laughs and everything and smile, on the planet.
Number 6 makes wisecracks, but I wouldn't say it's humor.
Yeah, at his expense.
It's
She's
sarcasm.
Like making
It's
fun
yeah.
of him.
Yeah.
I would say they have humor. Boomer, we've seen it.
But Boomer doesn't know she's a silent.
Planet Boomer,
Okay.
not Space
Planet Boomer hasn't made very many jokes.
Yeah, she has. Like with him.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I don't
I
know.
don't recall a lot of jokes.
Not
I don't
a
recall
lot of
either
jokes,
them,
but
I don't
she-
recall either of them laughing.
Oh, there's been some laughter.
Yeah, right. What, when he finished quickly?
In the orgy, I mean,
Maybe. I don't know. So anyways, you got Ellen Tigh introduced into this, and right away Ellen's trying to hook up with Lee Adama. Then she gets super drunk and convinces Tigh that Adama has been coming on to her when she was passed out and touching her in her sleep. Chick is crazy. Chick is crazy. But Adama, as always, Adama handles it well. Let's not let her get in our way, man. Like, I trust you, so knock it off.
Right.
And Ty's like, yeah, you're right, bro. Like, Adama always handles things extremely well. He is, like, steady, always.
Bitch is tripping.
Yeah.
That's what he said.
He knows. He called it out in the past with
I told you that she was crazy.
with the other one, yeah. With what's her name? Gina.
Yeah.
He called it out with
Yeah.
Gina. He knew. He didn't trust her. And actually Tigh saves the fleet launching those Vipers on a hunch, not trusting the radar. Or
Hey, he
the
wasn't-
radar.
He was uninhibited by second guessing himself by being sober.
Yeah.
That is kind of true, right?
Yep.
Like he just did what he wanted to do because
Yeah, that liquid
Lee's
courage.
standing there and he doesn't trust him.
They call it liquid courage.
Yeah, it was true.
I
It was
mean,
true.
think if you think of it in terms of like a social setting. If you were stone cold sober, you might be a little more apprehensive about approaching somebody you might want to talk to or you thought was attractive. But if you have a drink or two, you're a bit loosened up. You're like, all right, well, what's the worst you can say?
What
No.
the hell?
Well, it's
Right.
kind of like when you're drunk, you'll do riskier things just in general. Like you'll do things that might hurt yourself because you're like, oh, what's the big deal? And all of a sudden you're in the ER because you broke
What's a
your
little
ankle.
death?
Yeah. You broke your foot kicking a keg down the street. I've never done that.
Is that where your foot troubles began?
Yeah, I guess that would have been the start of it.
We know the root of the problem now.
Yeah.
And then the foot injuries become less and less cool as you age.
Yeah.
They do. They do.
Until you're just like, I was getting out of my car and walking to the mailbox and my leg snapped in half.
And you're like, what? Did something jump out in front of you? Yeah, the ground.
Yeah.
The
Yeah.
ground was there, and I just was not expecting
I didn't
it.
account for it to be even.
Yeah, it was just not my. Yeah, I couldn't help it. So, anything else from this particular episode?
I want to. I'm trying to think back on the dinner scene. all
the
the
discussions were interesting.
It was all the finger pointing like in the open now.
Yeah. Oh yeah, right away. They're just calling like they were calling out Ellen, weren't they? Or no?
Well, they were approaching the idea that she could be a Cylon without saying, "We think you're a Cylon."
Oh yeah, like it's kind of weird that that no one knew you were there until just like a
came
week
out of
ago.
nowhere.
Yeah.
What do you think her test results were?
What do I think?
I think they're negative.
You do?
She was just too annoying.
I know. Could you imagine clones of that?
Oh my gosh, more than one.
Oh, jeez.
Well, and you'd think, like, why would the Cylons make someone that annoying? You'd want them to be less assuming. So far, all of the Cylons have been pretty unassuming. They've just kind of been there.
What if their plan was to make an annoying Cylon so that they didn't actually have to kill the humans? They would kill themselves to not
Right.
deal with this person. A
They could
little
be.
bit of reverse psychology.
It could
There you go.
It could have been. It could have
No,
been.
I ultimately I think it was negative, but I like that they want you to think it's positive.
Mm-hmm.
Hmm.
I'm trying to find if there was any good quotes during this. Oh, during the dinner scene, Jamie Bamber's reaction, who plays Lee, was not told that Ellen was going to slide her foot into his lap.
Oh,
So
seriously?
His reaction was genuine.
That's fantastic.
That's a great. Who didn't tell him? The director. Smart. That's a good director.
And it wasn't in the script then either.
yeah, it wasn't. in the
That's very good because then you get a genuine reaction.
Mhm.
I like that.
Yeah, me too. I thought
Footsie is fun.
it's like when they dropped Alan Rickman off the tower. They didn't tell him they were going to let him go when they did. You get that look.
Yeah. Sometimes you set it all up for that one shot, that the first one where they don't know when it's coming. You get that organic.
Yeah, they
Reaction.
said they were going to drop him on 5, and they dropped him on 3.
Yeah.
It's pretty cool.
Oh my gosh. Anyway, there was some other good stuff in there. Like the dinner scene, like for instance, Ellen like immediately calling Rosalind a school teacher. Like, oh,
Yeah.
there's a lot
Called
of people
her a kindergarten
a
teacher.
kindergarten teacher. Everyone was uncomfortable with her. She's immediately trying to get classified information out of Adama. Like, what's
Which
the
makes you
benefit of being the XO's wife?
Yeah.
Which makes you question things, right? And then after she leaves, you really think this woman is a Cylon, and Lee saying, well, if she's not, then we're all in a lot of trouble. Like, it's actually worse off
Yeah.
if she's a human being. That was pretty
Like
cool.
we kind of need her to be a Cylon.
Yeah. Or like the part where when they're talking about Adama saying Ellen brings out the worst and she used to bring out the worst in him, and Lee replies used to.
Yeah.
And they all like stare at each other, and then they start taking care of the dishes again like crap. So I thought I thought those were good scenes. Those were pretty funny. I like those ones.
Yeah.
And uncomfortable. And because I think that's what they were almost trying to go for, like more of an Office sort of humor where it's uncomfortable humor.
The dinner party at
The
Michael's.
dinner party. Took me by the
Ugh.
hand, made me your man.
That was so uncomfortable.
That one night, you made everything. Ellen's okay. Did Tigh marry up or marry down? I think he married up here.
Visually,
Yeah,
probably married
she's,
up.
She's a beautiful woman.
But overall,
Yeah,
down.
but her personality takes her
Yeah,
down.
her personality is crazy.
Like
She,
that's
she
the whole
is like Jan.
Yeah. Well,
She
yeah.
is. Yeah,
But that's the whole thing is like you can be physically like
crazy hot scale.
crazy hot scale.
She's on it.
She's very crazy. I mean, I guess she's not an unattractive woman. I'll say that.
Yeah.
I wouldn't say that she's very attractive, but she's not unattractive. Physically.
Yeah.
Her personality, I wouldn't spend more than 3 seconds with her. I couldn't. Her personality is awful.
It's awful, but she's a horn dog, and that's all Tigh cares about. I mean, they almost have sex in the corridors of the ship at one point.
That's fine. I don't know that I would marry that person.
Which
exactly.
Which almost immediately became a fight again, and he fully acknowledged, like, I thought you weren't going to be a hoe anymore. Like, he knows she's sleeping
And she
around.
said, "You know I'm a hoe." Faux
For
show.
show.
Good Lord.
She is, man. She gets around. She not a good person.
No, she's not, and that's why I don't think she's a Cylon. I think she's too flawed. Do we ever learn why they chose the 6 they do?
The 6 Cylons?
Yeah.
I don't know.
Son of a bitch.
Yeah.
I know.
Well,
I know.
I know you know.
Yeah.
But I mean,
Does your I know, I don't know.
if in my mind, if I were the Cylons, I would choose strategically. She wouldn't be somebody I would choose.
You know, it's interesting because you think about the ones we know about. We know about Sharon is one of them. She makes a lot of sense. She's in the fleet. She's a good choice.
Cool nickname.
Then you have
Bummer.
Then we have number 6, who she's not in the fleet or anything,
Not a cool
but
nickname.
she's extremely attractive and extremely smart. So that, like she got in with Baltar. She was needed.
She'll let you hit it anywhere.
You had Leoben.
Literally.
You had Leoben, who was the guy who was found on Ragnar Station.
Ragnarok.
Ragnarok really
Thor?
didn't have much of a purpose, right? He was just kind of there, but and then you had the other one. Oh gosh, I always forget his name. Leoben, who was the press guy.
Didn't you just say that
Yeah.
guy?
Yeah, Leoben. Oh gosh, what's his name? The other one, Leoben, and I can't remember his name, but the press guy that was the suicide bomber in the last episode
Yeah.
too.
Right.
So far, the only one that hasn't really fits is Leoben. So
Didn't they say there were 6 models? Or did I make that up? Didn't they say there's just a couple models that look like humans?
yeah, 6. Yeah.
6 models that look like
Yeah.
humans, and then there's the robots.
Yeah. The generic ones.
Robots in disguise.
That'd be cool if they were Transformers.
That would be
That would
pretty
be
cool.
great.
What if the Autobots show up and save the day? Autobots,
I am Optimus Prime.
I am here to help you with
Peter
the Cylon
Cullen.
problem.
Oh goodness. Okay, are we done with that episode?
I am gonna write a crossover episode now.
Yeah,
Fan fiction crossover.
I'm drawing this bad boy.
That's. Yeah, I would watch it. I'd watch it. All right, Hand of God. President Rosalind going crazy, man. She's taking all of her medicines. She's starting to see snakes. Snakes on a plane.
I'm
She
sick
is.
of these motherfucking
Snakes
snakes
on
this motherfucking
So
Galactica.
she's seeing snakes, right? And she starts seeing this priestess who's like, "Hey, how many snakes did you see?" And she's like, "Hey, there was 12 of them." And she's like, "Hey, there was a prophecy about 12 snakes and a wasting away leader, a wasting disease." And she's like, "Oh, you're part of the prophecy, whatever." Then they find an asteroid with a lot of tillium on it. They need this tillium. It's basically like dilithium for Star Trek.
Yeah.
They need it to travel, but the Cylons are there, and they decide, look, we're desperate. We need this. We got to attack this site. We need this tillium. So they have Starbuck in charge of game planning, but Starbuck cannot go in the fighter ship. Her knee is still too weak. There's a really cool scene with that.
Yeah.
But she doesn't like doing that. She doesn't think Lee has the chops to do it. Turns out it's not she doesn't think Lee has the chops to do it. She just doesn't like not having control.
Big surprise.
Big surprise. So they
Color
go.
me shocked.
So they attack this station, and things work out really well. By the end, they explode the base. They have several years of Tillium for the fleet. Dr. Baltar is surprised that he was actually right on guessing the container's location, and he starts to believe that maybe God is working with him. Now he's starting to be like, I'm an instrument of God, so he's leaning into his psychoticness. And on Caprica, Hilo and Shannon continue to hide in a barn, and Hilo now realizes that Cylons can look like people because he sees a copy of number 6. So there you go. Oh, I guess I should mention that number 6 tells Baltar the prophecy also works the other way, of the 12 serpents being the fighter pilots and blah, blah, blah. So here's the president saying the prophecy is for us being the good guys, and now the Cylons are like, here's the prophecy about us being the good guys.
It's all about interpretation.
All about interpretation, baby. So that's this episode. Where shall we start?
We start here. The back door is open.
I had to text that to you. The back door is open. The back door. Well,
Dude, they said it 4 times
Yeah.
in like 30 seconds.
and they took themselves so seriously.
And Baltar was like, it is?
Yeah.
What was the exact line?
And you said this show doesn't do humor well.
Oh my god.
That was the funniest line in the whole show, and it
Yeah.
wasn't meant to be.
Apollo Galactica. The back door is open. I repeat, the back door is open.
That's what I'm talking about.
We like this ship.
Yes.
This is a good
Now
ship.
this show is getting somewhere.
Yeah.
That's a 10 out of 10 there.
Well, let's talk about that whole scene.
Also said in the orgy.
Yeah.
I think what Battlestar Galactica does really well is making you feel what the fighter pilots are feeling. I think it does a really good job of that.
think
And
so.
I thought this was a really cool scene, especially the fact that the plan all along was that they would be hiding. So you think the plan is falling apart and things are going really bad, and they're like, holy crap. And then all of a sudden, they open that back door.
Yeah.
And then things have changed.
It changes all their life.
It's a game changer.
But it's interesting because when they're coming up with the game plan, and I like how they use the little map and they're pushing the pieces along. Like,
Yeah.
it feels,
I thought that was kind of a cool
it's
edit.
a cool edit, and it's a nice thing because it shows you, for as technologically advanced as you become, some things will never change, like a battlefield, how the battlefield works and how it maneuvers. And I appreciated that.
But the whole thing is Adama is like technology averse.
He
So-
hates it.
About
yeah.
the whole ship, too.
Yeah, which is what kept them alive. Right?
Yeah, so the idea that they would strategize in this sort of analog way,
Yep.
it makes perfect sense.
Fits him really, really well.
And
Yeah.
I think that's going to play into the. I think it plays into their favor because everybody else they're zagging when everybody else zigs.
Yes.
And it's in a sports metaphor, it's hard to game plan for something that isn't.
For Ben Johnson.
Well, no, but think about it. Okay, if you want to do the Lions, the Lions, their offense is a bit more old school than a lot of the offenses in the NFL. They're very run heavy. They're very big up front. They want to play power football, and they pass when the opportunities are there.
Right.
Because they're so good at doing those sort of archaic parts of the game.
Yeah.
It opens up the passing game. So I kind of see the same thing here. Since like Adama does things one way, it sort of opens up different strategies that that the Cylons might not think about.
Yeah.
They can't necessarily game plan for it, or they're not as familiar with these aspects.
Right.
Now, do they think Adama's a Cylon again because he didn't tell them about the back door?
That's like, I mean, if I were Rosalind, I'd kind of go, well, wait, why is he hiding the plan from me? But the plan worked.
Yeah.
I think if the plan doesn't work, then yes, you get really suspicious.
I'm just
Oh,
saying he
he's
did
really hoping
one
his plan
thing
worked.
weird.
And it wasn't just him who knew the plan. It was Starbuck too, right?
Oh, another Cylon. See,
Yep.
Starbuck would be a Cylon. I would pick Starbuck as a Cylon.
She would be a very convincing Cylon, wouldn't she?
Well, she'd be a very good Cylon. It's a very
Oh yeah.
what's the word I'm looking for? A very coveted Cylon. She'd be a coveted host.
Yeah. Well, I mean, we kind of saw that with Leoben was like into her, right? When they were doing the interrogation.
Well, yeah, because his imaginary six was like, "Oh, you're into her."
No, not Galta, not Baltar.
Oh, sorry.
Leoben.
Oh, yeah, Leoben. I'm sorry.
The other Cylon.
Yep.
So
Oh, you're Starbuck, aren't you?
yeah.
I can see the fabric of space because I'm high, man.
It was interesting too because when they were making their original plan to attack the station, I forgot all about this episode. So when they were revealing her plan, I'm like, it's going to be obvious that those are dummy ships. Like the Cylons are smarter than that. They're going to know, right? And sure enough, like that, they kind of took me along for the ride too.
Yep.
Because I forgot all about the back door being open. Should never forget about that back door.
No.
It's always
the
there.
back door
Yeah.
is open.
You just got to be ready for it.
Yeah.
You just got to be ready.
You always got to think about it. Always have it in the back of your head.
What about the show starting to dwell in the more prophecies and talking about religious elements like this?
What do you mean starting?
It didn't really focus on religious elements in the.
Have you
first
not been paying attention to number 6, the whole show?
Yeah,
the whole
show.
show. But I mean, Rosalind getting involved in it now.
I think it was inevitable.
Okay.
Yeah, they've set it up that they're all
Yeah.
like, think the gods, think the gods, think the gods. They've set it up for a long
The
time.
gods are super important to them.
and the one versus the mini gods. So they've set up for a while that this something like this was going to come.
Well, and this is the one where they said you're going to find the planet, right? You're going to find. Oh my gosh, why am I blanking on the name of the planet?
Earth.
No,
I'm just
not
kidding.
Earth. They were going to find
Caprica.
Kobol.
Yeah.
Copacabana.
You're going to find Kobol, which Kobol will help you get to Earth, right? So that's part of the prophecy about that. So
At the Cobble.
Copacabana. Any favorite scenes from this one? Because I have my favorite, which is why I'm asking you what your favorite is.
I liked the entire sequence of executing the plan.
The back door.
Yes.
Yes.
Uh,
Me
It
too.
was really well. It reminds
really-
me of like Top Gun.
Yeah, it was really well
actually.
done.
Well, when I'm sitting there watching it and I'm like, I really am not thinking. I'm just like watching,
Yeah.
and I'm kind of like frozen almost.
You're
Not-
into it, yeah.
and I'm just watching. That's when a show you know something is really well
Yeah,
done.
it's got you anticipating what's going to happen.
Yeah.
And the thing that I think Battlestar Galactica has going for it is you don't know if it's going to be good or bad. Like it's, in a movie like Top Gun, the good guys are ultimately going to win because Top Gun, right? In Battlestar Galactica right now, especially because we're just in the first season, you don't know that things could end horribly. And actually, I initially thought that's what was happening. As their fighters are getting shot down, I'm like, oh, this was a bad plan. And then the back door gets opened, and everything changes.
That's the whole show right there.
Everything changes.
This whole episode.
I,
So one line.
The whole love thing. I get a little annoyed with that too. Like they're all like he's in love, and then they want to be in love. Or like,
Oh,
they make
Hilo
love,
and
then
Back on
love.
Caprica.
Yeah, and it's like
but they're not spending as much time with it, which is
Well,
fine.
It was
Well,
nice they
what's
got
up
away
with
from
number-
this episode.
Well, what's up with number 6? Is this the episode she was crying?
Yeah, she got teary eyed.
Yeah, like
Yeah.
what? So
Yeah, when they're talking about her being in love and she looks away
Yeah.
and cries.
does anybody else besides me think that Sharon's pregnant?
Oh, I think it was pretty obvious, right?
Yeah.
They're setting that up with her puking
Yeah.
and not feeling well.
Okay. So we're having Cylon babies now, right?
I think it feels pretty obvious that she's pregnant.
Well, yeah. I mean, the only other person.
I don't know.
The only person who isn't pregnant, who I know that
Is
would.
she going to give birth to Jesus? And it's going to reunite everything.
The only person who I know
It's the
that would
story of
smell
Christianity.
peanut butter and throw up, who isn't pregnant, is Rob.
And my daughter. She
Really?
hates it too,
Really?
with a passion.
That's bad parenting.
Actually,
is good.
I do my job well.
But yeah, like
Peanut butter is an excellent. It's a nutrient.
Let's talk about the back door. It's what that tastes like.
which I kind of hate. Like
That's why it's good. It's delicious.
so you were talking about heavy-handed writing, right? About the humor in the last episode. To me, whenever they do this thing here, when she smelled something, my stomach's queasy and throwing up. Oh, is she pregnant?
Have you ever?
That's heavy.
Have you ever smelled
Have
peanut
you
butter?
have
Makes
you
me
ever been
wanna
pregnant?
Twice?
Oh,
I was
you only
gonna
have
tell
one.
you guys.
You only have one kid, though.
I was going to tell you
Very
guys.
sorry.
I have an announcement for you.
Oh, I found out on a cruise.
Yes.
Robin,
You've seen
pregnant.
you've seen the
That was
pictures.
the conception.
Yeah, you
That
saw
was-
the pictures.
Yeah. So,
But I mean, it is an easy trope. But I
It is.
do believe. I mean, I think we've all experienced significant others being pregnant.
Denny's Ranch was my wife's craving. I had to go to Denny's and get.
But
their
like,
ranch.
did your smell and your taste? It's altered.
Yeah, her smell became like superhuman smelling, and it's still that way to this day after the pregnancy.
But it's not uncommon. It's very common for someone who becomes pregnant to immediately dislike a smell or
Their
taste.
spouse. Oh,
Yes,
sorry.
a smell or taste that they liked.
Yeah.
Being previously.
right.
So that, I mean, it's one of those like easy things to do, but it's efficient. It's an efficient writing tool.
It is. It is.
So if you, instead of taking 2 or 3 scenes to convey something, or the course of an episode or 2, you can do it in one scene.
I just wish. I don't know. I think when a show is trying to go out of its way to make you think and make you, like not know what's happening next, this seems very telegraphed.
Yeah.
But I don't think it's the show's fault.
No.
I think it's just we've been so accustomed to associating those two things together.
Yeah.
A woman gets nauseous. Pregnancy.
Yeah.
That's it's peanut butter and jelly.
Yeah.
I mean, it's easy. It's easy. You piece them together almost immediately. And when it's not, that's when the curveball is thrown.
Yeah. Yeah.
because that's the joke. That I mean that not even in like TV or movies, but just in society. If a girl is like, my stomach feels weird. Oh, are you pregnant?
Yeah, that's true. Yeah. We all
So it's just automatic. It's an auto reply.
okay. Auto reply. Yeah.
My Odd Office is on.
Yeah. Oh, sorry, I still had my pregnancy response on.
My favorite scene. I haven't got to say my favorite scene was going back to when
We didn't care.
Yeah, I know you don't. Was going back to when Starbuck wanted to fly and she was in the weight room and he comes in there and he's simulating the G's
Yeah.
and he's adding
Oh, it's a
weight
great
to it.
scene.
You're
Yeah.
making a hard right and you got to slam on, which again makes it really cool because in space you often think, okay, it's they're weightless or whatever, and but it really shows you the athleticism that's needed to be a fighter pilot, just like in real life.
Right.
You have to be healthy and fit.
Just
right?
just ask the actors from Maverick, from Top Gun Maverick.
Right.
They went through actual training
Right.
to do, and
To handle those G's, like 7, and then
It's
and
no
then at
bullshit.
the end of it, he's like, "That was only 3 G's."
Yeah.
and
Yeah.
you like,
not 6.
yeah, you got to hold it. You got to hold it for 10 seconds, and he's counting it down on her. Like, that was a great scene, but it was also a scene where you felt his love for her,
Yeah.
and you felt
There was
and
compassion there.
it was compassion, right? He wasn't just be like, "You can't cut it." It was more like, "I can't have you go out there because you'll die."
But that's also the sign of a good leader.
Yep.
Because he knows how to get to her.
Yeah,
He knows how
and he's
to
the only one.
but he knows how to approach her. You can't just say you can't cut it. You're not physically able to do that, and she'll fight
I'm
back.
going to show her she can't do it.
Right.
Right.
I'm gonna show her. I'm gonna bring her to this conclusion.
Yeah, the only way to get Starbuck to agree to your plan is if she agrees with it, right? Like
Right.
if she understands it.
How do I make her
How
understand
do I
it?
make her know her body can't do it? Well, I'm gonna throw some
Put her
weight
through
on
it.
there. Yeah.
Put her through a simulated version of that without the risk, and let her come to the conclusion. Yeah, maybe I'm not there yet.
And I think, and I love that scene, but I also love their relationship, and I think that's why I love this scene so much. I love how she's his link to Zach, which again, back in the last episode,
Oh.
Ellen saying,
Yeah.
Zach,
I know. Ooh.
Zach, oh,
Ooh.
me, like
Too soon.
Good for Adama though,
he's
Yeah.
dead.
because
Damn it, Jim.
Do we really believe that she doesn't know? Right? She doesn't know.
I don't know.
You would think. See, that was
Because
weird.
her personality is a kind of a cold-hearted bitch, in a way.
That's true. It
Yep.
is like her calling. Well, and I think that's the point: is does she know or does she not know? Because
That
she's
was-
making those comments about Rosalind, and she's
Mhm.
doing. So is she just being a bee?
Or is she a Cylon?
Yeah. Oh, and then we didn't even mention the
Is she a
point.
B or a C?
We didn't even
Or a
mention.
D?
Double D.
We didn't even mention that her whispering in his ear, "Don't mess with me," and then he whispers back, "Don't mess with me."
Don't
Great comeback.
Yeah.
But I mean, it's true. Don't
Yeah.
mess with Adama. Man.
don't frack with me.
Don't frack with me.
The
Can we try to bring frack into the real world?
I love frack.
No,
man.
please no.
Frack you.
Frack you.
No, I don't. I get it. I
Frack off, man.
Man, I'm what a fracking baby. I'm doing it.
Yeah. Yeah.
the back door is open for some fracking.
For
Yeah.
some. All right. One of the things that I really liked about the show when it was over was the musical composition. One of the things I'm realizing is earlier in the season, the musical composition wasn't great. I think these last couple episodes is really where it's starting to come in its own. And I think part of it is I'm realizing I like the sound of a bagpipe when it's done well. And I think these episodes did the bagpipe well. Did you pay attention to the music at all?
I didn't.
A
Actually.
little bit. To me, bagpipe signifies death.
Yeah, me too.
I think funeral.
They used it
I don't
for
know
like
why.
Thanks, Spock.
They used it for like their victory, right? When Adama comes off the ship with the lighter and everything, they're playing the bagpipe music for that.
Bagpipe means two things: funeral, corn.
Oh yeah.
That's
Yes,
it.
Yes, that's
Knick
all.
knack paddywhack.
Give a dog a bone.
That's great. That's great.
It
All
is.
I want in life is to be happy. Oh, good song. So I dig the music. Pay more attention to some.
I will.
Yeah, pay more attention to it. I think they really.
Don't tell me how to watch this TV show.
I think they're doing a good job. I noticed, and part of the reason we haven't talked about this is because I said let's stop talking about it. But are you getting
That's on us for listening to.
now?
that's
Are
true.
you
We usually
getting
don't do that.
more used to the shaky cam? Are you?
No.
Oh, so my wife watched the episode with me. She says, "What the is this?"
It's the early
Did she
2000s.
get nauseous, and did you ask her if she was pregnant?
No, she said, "This is ridiculous."
It's the early 2000s shaky cam, baby. They love the shaky cam. Okay.
It's to me, it's the like
The quick zooms.
the quick zooms in and out,
and then
and
it shakes a little bit when it's on.
it's almost it's like some sort of like radar, like the Predator or something.
You hear the Predator music, and that'd be pretty sweet.
I
Fire,
wish the Cylons looked like Predator.
that would be pretty
that would be
sweet.
pretty cool.
That would be badass.
So, a couple notes, production notes. Moore explained that the decision to use the big board for the fighter scenes, was due to financial and narrative constraints. Using computer graphics to narrate space battles is expensive, and the product often has to be simplified heavily so the viewers understand it.
This goes back to Rob's sci-fi budget.
But it's interesting because it's only a budgetary thing, which to me, I like the thing that Adama doesn't want to use computers.
I
We're
like that.
keeping it basic, and it really would fit. So
I'm a fan of that style of like strategic planning.
well, and it
Where you
helps
had-
you see the battlefield too, right?
And they had it in Star Trek. The Alamo, right?
Yeah.
The Alamo set.
Yes, they did.
I liked it.
Yes, they did.
At least nobody called it a toy this time.
Oh, how dare they?
Toy time.
Toy time.
I heard that song somewhere, and I was immediately singing our version.
It's so on the cruise, our two sons would sing it just randomly.
Yeah.
Gavin was taking a crap and singing in the bathroom, the public bathroom.
I feel honored in a way, but yet it's weird that when someone takes a dump, they think of our
Toy time.
Hey,
Hey, if it helps,
Yeah.
anything that helps,
It's therapeutic. It really is.
yeah, loosens the bowels.
what else in there? Trivia. Adama uses a phrase, roll the hard six, dice term. To roll a hard six, you need a 1 and a 5, a 2 and a 4, or a pair of threes. The odds of rolling this is about 11 or 9, 1 in 11 or about 9%. To roll a pair of threes, it's only about a 3%. So his rolling a hard six is basically saying we have a 3% chance to survive. So there's that.
I got the reference. I didn't run the numbers on the.
Sorry, it was just did you know trivia, and then you have the quote, an interesting quote, number 6. All this has happened before. All this will happen again,
I did like that quote.
which is the use from their scripture. All this has happened before and will happen again. So,
So Baltar is basically he's being converted.
yeah,
Sounds like it.
he's becoming a religious zealot.
It feeds his ego because he's an instrument of
God.
God.
Yeah,
Yes.
You know what what did we listen to? Pre-show. A song.
Prince.
Prince,
P control,
power,
right?
Yeah.
power of the. Oh yeah, yeah.
That's exactly what this is.
Mm-hmm.
He is letting the
Yes.
southern hemisphere of number 6 dictate his fate, really.
Yeah, exactly. So
He's really cocksure.
He I don't know. I'm very interested to see where this guy's going, but like I don't really like his character right now. It's going in so many different directions. He's erratic. He's I
I think
just
that's the point.
I would have threw him out of the airlock already. Well, thanks for the silent detector. There you go.
yeah.
Yeah, sorry, we don't need you anymore,
Yeah.
bro. Okay. Let's go into ratings, shall we? Or unless there's anything else you want to talk about. Can I just talk about how gorgeous Dee is, though, actually? That scene with Billy when they're like looking at the ships, or they're all in the makeout room. She's gorgeous.
D?
Dee Duala. With when she's trying to get when Billy's trying to get information about Adama. In the
Oh,
first
gotcha.
episode, she is beautiful.
Yeah.
Anastasia Duala is her
Agreed.
name.
Yeah.
D. She's gorgeous. Anyways.
Tie me up, tie me down.
Hot.
Woo, woo, woo,
A
woo.
9 on basically on the name alone.
There you go.
Yeah, that's true.
Well, I rated it a 3.
Wow.
You did not.
Wow.
I didn't like it.
Wow. Holy crap.
Is it the
It annoyed the piss out of me the entire episode.
is it the
With all,
pl-
there
is
was
it the
there's
plot
like
line?
some redeeming parts. I mean, I did not like it.
Wow. That's really bad.
Wow. Yeah, I think
Wow.
I almost turned it off.
really.
Yeah.
Oh my
It
god.
took me 2 days to watch it. And not because I'd lack of time.
Wow.
Did you watch the second episode before you watched that? Finish that one?
No.
Wow, that's interesting. Wow. I think that's a bad take.
No, you're allowed that.
Mm-hmm.
Some of us,
Rob.
maybe it's my Ron Howard.
Rob doesn't like fun.
I like
And Battlestar Galactica.
Was that
He doesn't
episode fun though?
No,
I don't think it wasn't.
It was uncomfortable.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I'm gonna give it a 5.5.
I was gonna give it a 6. So I mean, I didn't think it was bad. I didn't think it was great.
I didn't think it was great. The characters they focused on were annoying at best.
Yeah.
I don't like Ellen. I don't know what they have planned for her going forward. I hope it's not much. And then Baltar is becoming an annoying little twerp.
Becoming?
Yes.
He always was, my friend.
He always was, but like I said to kick off our reviews of these shows, like everything he does is wrong. Every decision he makes is
Literally
wrong.
everything he does is wrong. Yeah.
And
But
it just compounds on the next one. Like, oh, he could have like now he could have
He's
followed up with the truth,
yeah.
whether or not she is Ellen is a Cylon, but he had the opportunity before that to sort of everything that happens after every decision he makes is worse because of the decision before.
Well, and he's like one of those people where
And
they're
he
like
doubles down. It's like, you idiot.
Well,
Yeah.
and he's one of
I'll
those
fix it
people
later.
where
I'll
you're
get it
like,
later.
everything works against me. Everything, like, this world is out to get me. And it's like, dude, have you paid attention to your own decisions? Like, he's
Yeah.
that sort of person.
Yeah.
Like, if you just would have been a little bit smarter, and not even a little bit smart, if you would have used common sense, you would have been okay.
Is that because he's a genius? He doesn't have common sense.
There's a lot of truth to that, being book smart but not street smart. But anyways, Tie Me Up and Tie Me Down is the lowest rated episode of season 1 in
That
IMDb
makes
as
sense.
well.
That makes sense.
Just barely, though.
No, he's talking. He's talking overall, like IMDb.
Yeah, IMDb has,
IMDb.
it's at 7.5. There's 2 other 7.6s.
Still the lowest.
Yeah. Hand of God.
Do 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 do
Do, 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 do.
6.5.
6.5, that low. Because you really liked the space battle, the back door.
I did. I did.
I don't think that's low because I'm going to give it a 7.
I gave it 7.5. I really enjoyed it.
Oh, all right. All right. This is Rob's highest score yet, I
Yeah.
think. For-
It is.
oh, wait,
Well,
no.
Litmus is same thing.
Litmus, you gave a 7.5. Oh, Litmus was excellent. That was a good episode.
What did I give Litmus?
9.5.
9.5.
Yeah, that was good.
IMD
stuff.
average was pretty low on that one, too, actually. 7.6.
Yeah, well, the general public are idiots. So.
Yeah, they are. They tend to be idiots.
Not our listeners, though.
No, they're not the general
No.
public. They have great taste.
Yes. Our listeners are the best
So, okay.
and
So,
the smartest and the funniest.
Yeah. Charming. Really charming.
Very charming.
really charming. Gorgeous. They're beautiful, too.
Yeah. They're successful.
There's,
Yeah.
yeah.
And darn it, people like them.
Yeah. Yeah. All right. So we got 3 episodes left before the finale. Any predictions for what's to come?
Second
Baltar.
season.
Second season. Baltar.
Baltar come.
Any major predictions you want to make now for any major
There's a Cylon on the ship.
Yeah.
That's a good prediction. That's a good prediction.
My prediction is there's
My prediction is I'm going to get annoyed by the 6 in his head.
my
That's a good prediction.
my prediction is there's another Cylon on the ship besides Boomer.
That's what I meant.
Okay.
Okay. All right.
I think there are multiple Cylons
Okay.
on board
Cool.
Galactica at the moment. And I think do you think the president's going to live through season 1?
Yes, I do.
I think so too.
I think she's going to get killed or some crap like that.
She's getting pretty sick though.
Yeah.
I did not like the snake scene. I fucking hate snakes. I absolutely
Are
hate
you
snakes.
like Indiana
Well,
Jones?
snakes on the
I'm
plane.
probably worse. I don't even like seeing snakes on screen. It gives me a lot of anxiety. I hate them. I absolutely hate snakes.
Noted.
I'll kill you.
Gosh, there's something in the next episode.
Hey, listeners, you guys can
you're
ship
gonna
us.
I just remembered what happens in the next episode, and you gentlemen, I know you are gonna hate this. You're gonna hate it with a bitter passion, and I can't
Am I rating it at number 3 again?
wait. I can't wait for how much you're gonna hate this.
Oh my god.
So next week, though, we're gonna just review one episode. I don't know. We're gonna have to do a show meeting about that,
No, we already decided. We're doing the 1 episode next
and
week,
then the 2 the next
and then
week.
the season 1 finale in 2 parts in 2 weeks.
Okay, sounds good to me. So we're gonna talk a lot of pop culture next week.
Yeah, we'll get to the rest of Rob's list.
Yeah, that's true. Save that list for next week. We're gonna talk about Lost next week.
Yay!
Oh yeah.
we
And
are.
Scrubs.
Yeah, we are.
Ugh.
And we'll talk a little bit more about Newsroom.
Okay.
But gentlemen, thanks for hosting a great hour with me. I appreciate it.
Hour 40.
Try 2
Hour
almost.
40. Where can you find us?
You can call us anytime you want at 734-494-0980.
Please do call us. We want
I
your
love the messages.
I love
I
them.
love them.
I love you. We love you.
It's just fun to kind of hear what people are thinking that we're idiots.
Yeah.
I'm game for it.
Call us. Call
We
us.
haven't gotten too many your idiot calls though.
We should get more though.
Yeah, I'm surprised. There are some people who are our Patreons even who said they couldn't wait until we get into Battlestar Galactica.
Liars.
I have not heard from them yet.
Yeah. Crickets. Where's your crickets?
Where's my crickets number?
You should really run the board.
Let me get
know.
my cricket sound. Oh, wow! This makes me feel crickets when I listen to it. There's my cricket music. So
Who? He sounds like the chef, the Muppet.
Yeah,
chef.
the Muppet Chef.
Dirty
Skirty.
I'm-
Instagram at keeping_up_ Cardassians. Twitter,
At Cardassians Pod.
YouTube. You can watch our pretty faces.
and
Hey,
you should join us on Patreon.
Patreon.
Punishing our peepees.
yeah, nice.
You'll be punished, our peepees. I call you our peepees because you're our Patreon people, and we love to have.
There
you.
is some seriously nonsense on there. That's fun.
There is some fun.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And we'd love to have you.
It's ridiculous. It's ridiculous.
Redonkulous. If you're lucky, the back door will be open in that Patreon.
Yeah, coming through the back door of our Patreon.
This is Leah Dama. Galactica, the back
Repeat.
door is open.
Repeat.
I repeat.
We
the back
repeat
door-
4 times in 30 seconds. The back door
No,
is
seriously,
open.
the back door's open, guys.
Why is he chuckling every time he says that? No.
Ser-
All right, everyone. We love you. Thanks for keeping up with us.
It's old.
I got to start laughing. Stop laughing. Bye, all. Time ain't nothing but a G.I. Joe.
It stinks.